Well, y'all seem to be liking these spoiler videos, so let's talk about Venom: The Last Dance. Spoilers! Welcome to the Cinefanatics. My name's Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And today we're talking some spoilers for Venom: The Last Dance. How many movies are like The Last Dance now?
Save the Last Dance.
there's a lot. I feel like that's another one of those like subtitles that gets constantly used.
Venom Rises.
Yeah. Anyways, we could spend a whole video just doing that alone.
Venom Into Darkness.
But they're going to click off if we don't get on with it. So let's get on with it. Before we get on with it, though, make sure you do the YouTube things. Let us know your thoughts, feelings, opinions in the comments. Did you like Venom: The Last Dance? Did anyone like Venom: The Last Dance? Let us know down below. What were the things that you were wanting to nitpick on? Like, what kind of spoilery stuff? Let us know down below. Also, while you're down there, make sure you hit like and subscribe. So, yes, from here on out, this is your one warning. There's spoilers. We are going to be spoiling the movie. Venom dies. You're still here? You should have clicked away. Anyways.
Got him.
Got him. Yeah, I would say, like...
The freaking movie poster told you that.
I know. Like, it's obvious. So,
the whole marketing campaign was that one of them was going to die.
So, if you want to know our actual thoughts about the movie, because we're not really doing a review with this, but if you want to know our actual thoughts about it, click on the review, the iCard, whichever corner it's currently in, because I don't know how this works when I flip it on YouTube or whatever.
Could be up here.
It could be up here. Who knows? If you see something, click on that. Anyways, one of the things I talked about in that was how the end of this movie did kind of feel like specifically the end of Fast and Furious 7 or Furious 7 if you want to be specific. Yeah, that we're saying goodbye to one of our characters. And that's essentially what they were doing, is just Eddie looking at like the sunset. He misses
Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, he misses his other.
I miss my best friend.
So I thought that was kind of weird. Not really much of a spoiler. I just wanted to like clarify that's what we were actually talking about, is because the Venom symbiote dies.
Yeah, I thought it would be funny if they actually put that song from Fast and Furious 7 in there. It'd be very on the nose, but I'd be like, you know what?
Good job, guys.
Nice play.
Anyway, so not really a spoilery thing, just something I wanted to mention. What's funny is the one thing we really didn't talk about in our spoiler-free review, because you really can't without spoiling some form of the movie, and that was Knull. First of all, this movie really didn't feel like it had one specific antagonist.
No, it was just the xenophages. It was just the creatures.
It was like Knull, the xenophages, then you got General Strickland.
Strickland sort of every now and then.
Yeah,
kind of.
And that was roughly about it. So there wasn't one central focus, although the movie's opening with Knull trying to make it look like Knull.
Wait. So we didn't talk about Knull in our review. So you could say our review is Knull and Void? Void Knull.
Now y'all know why most of these videos have been just me lately.
Good night, everybody.
No. So it began with Knull, and basically all he's doing is expositing all over his planet. His whole planet is just exposition all over the place.
What?
Exactly. And all he's doing is saying, like, we must find the... What was it again for the 50 billionth time?
The Codex! I need the Codex!
Where is the Codex? It's with General Zod back in Man of Steel.
Superman.
So... I don't know. It's just... I hate when, like, there's, like, these weird, like, little MacGuffins that pop up in movies like that.
Well, the weird thing also about this is that the MacGuffin was actually... It's Venom and Eddie.
It was the fact
they were the MacGuffin.
So the MacGuffin was the fact that that Eddie technically died. Venom brought him back to life, and by bonding with him to bring him back alive, it created this Codex thing. Like, that is such a yada 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 whatever.
I mean, it is one part somebody was high when they made that, and two parts they just went ahead and rushed it. And I guess this makes sense.
Yeah, but otherwise, Knull doesn't do a damn thing in this movie.
No, he does. He does this.
Yeah, he's sitting on his throne back on the symbiote homeworld of Clintar. This is going to get a little nerdy, y'all. Just hold on to your shorts.
Hi, my name's Clintar.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Whatever. But yeah, he's just sitting on his throne looking down the whole time. Don't see his face. You hear his voice. I guess it sounds like Andy Serkis.
No,
sure.
It sounds like a combination of Golem and Snoke, which I wonder why.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you were saying like, hey, he kind of sounds like Snoke for some weird reason.
Yeah. It's because it's Andy Serkis.
But
And
yeah,
Caesar.
he doesn't do anything. He just explains that he needs this thing so he can be free, that the symbiotes that he created turned on him and keep him imprisoned on this planet, yada, 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 whatever.
We're supposed to think that this guy is threatening in some way, but dude literally does nothing but sit in a chair and talk anytime he's on screen. And so I'm like, all right, I guess this guy has power of some sort. We didn't see it really. I think they were trying to maybe show it, but it was just a bunch of CGI mess, and I really couldn't make out what was happening. But they didn't really show us. They did exactly what you're not supposed to do. They were telling us, but they weren't showing us. And so therefore, I don't buy into it. I'm not buying that this guy, outside of comic knowledge, of course, that this guy is any kind of anything.
Now, for those of you who might not know some of the comic background history of this character, he is essentially the creator of the symbiotes. One of the first things he created was the all-black, the Necro Sword, which, if you're taking notes, that was the sword that Gore got in Thor Love and Thunder at the very beginning. That's that sword.
My favorite MCU movie.
There was no connection at all. There was no mentioning of this sword having anything to do with Null or the symbiotes, and there was no mention in this movie of that sword existing. So
no, there was shots of Null at one point, I think he was raising a sword. I would imagine that was probably that sword.
Yeah.
Because outside of that, would he have any other sword? Random sword?
Not really.
So that was probably it.
But yeah, he doesn't do anything, so...
Nothing. He's there at the very beginning.
He is Null. See, I can do it.
Yeah. He was there at the very beginning. He's got a couple shots throughout. And then at the very end, he lifts his head up finally to look at the screen. And we're supposed to be like, oh, something big is coming.
Yeah. We'll get into that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But moving on to the actual symbiotes. So, as you could tell from the trailer, again, if you know the comic books, you knew that we were setting up all these other symbiotes that the military had been collecting at Area 51. Those familiar with the comics, I know in the spoiler-free review, I referred to the storyline as Planet of the Symbiotes. It's actually bigger than that. It originally started in the original Venom Lethal Protector comics, where the Life Foundation, which was the creepy organization in the first Venom movie ran by Carlton Drake, that foundation is responsible for creating these 5 symbiotes from the Venom symbiote. Mm-hmm. So we knew that was coming, but we didn't know who exactly these symbiotes were going to be attaching to. So we've got all these weird variations of symbiotes, including, real quick, let's talk about the animals. Yeah, the horse venom, the frog venom, fish venom, whatever.
Those might be worth the price of admission to this movie. If you have to find a reason to go see this movie, those might be the reason.
But the problem with that is everything involving those animals really was shown in the trailer. There really isn't that much more about the horse venom than what you saw in the trailer.
The credits also showed venom attached to completely different animals that we didn't see in the movie too.
Yeah,
which was kind of funny.
But sure. So the actual symbiotes, primarily the main 5 that we see from the other ones. In the comic books, that is supposed to be Agony, Riot, Lasher, Phage, and Scream. Riot was Carlton Drake in the first Venom movie, so we already got him. Was it Lasher is supposed to be the woman that's referred to as Christmas in this movie, with the Christmas tree pin that...
Yeah, I don't know if...
General Strickland's making fun of her.
I don't really remember her having any other name. I know she was just called Christmas by Strickland at some point.
I think most everyone, all the credits or everything, are just referred to her as Christmas, because that's the only name given. But she's supposed to be Lasher, which Lasher is supposed to be a green, dude symbiote. So, okay. Like I said it before in the spoiler-free review, they really didn't stick to the comic books. And that's where I was talking about we don't see that caring. If this was done by the MCU proper, I think there would be a lot more caring, and let's try to get these characters to match up. For a great example is out of those 5 random symbiotes, the most popular is actually Scream, which is, she's like a, first of all, it's a she. I'm sorry, did you just assume that symbiote's gender? She is like a red and yellow, like fiery looking symbiote. And she wasn't in this movie at all. All, like, a lot of the other symbiotes were, but she wasn't.
I feel like I remember one that was like shooting fire or something at one point.
Possibly, but I mean, it didn't look enough like Scream.
No, there was symbiotes and they were all very like unnamed.
There was one that like had 2 heads. That's none of the 5 symbiotes, so I don't know where they got like a 2-headed symbiote.
There's like a bulky strongman one.
Yeah, and I don't know who that was either.
Yeah.
The only one that they actually got right was Agony, which was Dr. Payne.
For all 5 seconds that she was in the movie.
Yeah. Dr. Payne is not the actual human of Agony in the comics, but I mean, they made do with what they could. But at least they made her look accurate, which I applaud y'all for that. Good job there.
Yeah, that's the problem with Agony, is that she was actually, the design for Agony in the movie is actually really cool. Mm-hmm. And she was literally in there for 5 seconds. She put on the symbiote real quick, ran in speed of lightning. I think they're saving Christmas.
I think she saved like Christmas or like General Strickland or something like that.
Yeah, she saved like 1 or 2 people or whatever, ran back out, ditched the symbiote. That's it. That's all Agony was used for. I'm like,
yeah. Anyway, so they didn't get any of these characters really accurate. At least Agony looked accurate. The one that I actually have a huge problem with was how they did Toxin.
Yeah.
Toxin is supposed to be like the son of Carnage's symbiote, which is attaching to the cop Patrick Mulligan. Patrick Mulligan was the cop that shot Shriek in the eye in the last movie.
Yeah.
And he's like partially deaf because she shrieked at him. We left the second movie with the idea that he may be dead, and we see in this movie he's alive. You see him in the trailer or whatnot, and you know he has a symbiote, which again, if you know the comics, you know he was Patrick Mulligan supposed to be Toxin.
Yeah.
Again, in this movie they actually made Toxin look like Lasher, because it was a green dude, with the exception that he didn't have legs. He kind of had like a
serpentine
serpent.
He's like a serpentine kind of creature.
I don't know why they did that. Toxin in the comics is like red from like the waist up and black from the waist down.
They
and
also
sometimes he has like the Venom jaws.
They also didn't call him Toxin in the movie.
Not at all. Yeah.
So for all intents and purposes, other than it's Patrick Mulligan with a symbiote, might as well have not been Toxin.
Pretty much, yeah. So again, like we're in a state. This was what you were talking about before in the other review, is that this looked like something where it was a comic book movie cranked out in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Nobody really cared as long as we get Nicolas Cage with a flaming skull for a head. Cool, we got Ghost Rider, nailed it. Who cares about anything else?
I also found out that the production for this movie was actually split because of the strikes that were happening. Between the writer strike and the actor strike, the production was started and then stopped and then started again later. Man, and so sucks. There were parts of it that were rushed because they had to get it into production really quickly, which is why when we were talking about in our review how things feel so kind of like disjointed or things feel kind of weird, that's because they were disjointed and weird in the whole creation process.
Well, let that be a lesson to the studios. Pay your people right, and that won't happen.
Also, don't try to rush something into production if a strike is imminent.
I get it. So from that viewpoint, I will take like the humanistic side to it. I get that you've got a bunch of people working on a movie that are all being rush. Let's get this out, because you got a studio and a studio head that's saying, "Hey, I need
deadlines,
this movie.
Budgets.
Yeah, I need this movie done. I need it out. I need to be making money off of this. We need a quick return on this investment. We need to get this done. Just do it."
The longer it waits, the more money we have to actually make in the box office. The more money we have to make in the box office, the harder it's going to be to, justify this whole thing.
And so that's the reason why, no matter how bad the movie ever actually is, my heart will always go out to the people who are making this movie, because no one wakes up in the morning and go, you know what, I'm going to make a piece of crap movie. No one's ever doing that. They are...
Unless your name's Tommy Wiseau.
And then you just hope it's popular enough that it turns out to be like fancy crap, I guess.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah. But no one's actually wanting to do it. They want to go out and they want to do their job with pride.
Yeah.
With acceptance. They just want to put their love for making a movie into this project. Unfortunately, not every movie can be a winner. So, again, my heart goes out to those people because they actually are trying, and especially in this case with the strikes,
But it does explain a lot about like the story, how the storylines were all kind of like crazy and all over the place.
The only other thing, like really from the comics to be accurate, was the xenophages. These were the creatures that Noel sent out to go hunt down Venom. They look pretty comic book accurate. The only difference is in the comic books, they're shapeshifters, and we really didn't see this like shapeshift. In this movie, they're phenomenal trackers. The second that codex thing made itself visible, they're gone. They were there in a matter of minutes.
They can literally just leap to it and be there.
Yeah, like I think at one point they see the codex in Las Vegas, and so the xenophage is like, what, the Grand Canyon or so? He's at Grand Canyon and then hightails it.
A whole state away.
Yeah, he's one whole state away, and he manages to make it within like a few minutes of them. Like now, the actual runtime of the movie, 30, 45 minutes, an hour maybe, but that's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah, well, and that goes back to where we were talking about. Like parts of it just feel so rushed that they kind of skip over some of the creature traveling.
We didn't get
time
like
frame.
The Lion King with Simba running back to the Pride Lands.
Yeah.
Wait, is that the song? I thought it was like some like random Beyonce song shoved in there instead. Oh, whatever. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, Mufasa's coming out this year still.
Yeah. We didn't get that, which, I mean, sure, nitpicking, I guess, but...
No, but I would have at least liked to see a... you throw in another scene like the Michael Bay Transformers where the xenophage is, like, leaping over people and some random pretty woman's like...
Oh, no.
Ah!
Oh, I thought you were going to bring up, like, John Turturro. I'm under the xenophage's testicles.
I mean, if you want to go double Michael Bay, then, yeah, the xenophage would have balls.
Scrotum or whatever.
Yeah.
Just, there's a lovely image. Shapeshifter. Anyways, yeah, so this thing is running to Las Vegas. Let's use that to segue into that dance scene of Venom and Mrs. Chen. While it was funny, it was cool, it was awesome to see.
It's in tone with the Venom movies up to that point. I mean, you're talking about he was at like whatever rave or whatever last movie.
It is wildly out of place. Why the hell is Mrs. Chen randomly at that one casino that they happen to go to?
For fun.
I get it, but logically it doesn't make sense.
Mrs. Chen, you happen to be in Vegas the same time I've been lost and trying to wander my way to New York. I just happen to show up in Vegas the same time you're already here. Cool. Let's go dance in your hotel room.
And by the way, shout out to Mrs. Chen's actress. She looked phenomenal in that scene.
Yeah, so... The problem I have with that scene is that Venom is well aware at that point of the Codex situation. He knows better.
Yeah.
But then he's like, whatever. It'll be just one song, I guess. I'll dance with Mrs. Chen and we'll have some fun. And then, like, literally the second he does that, crashing into the ceiling. Because, again, those xenophages move at the speed of freaking light.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you knew better. This was not a... smart, logical, thought-out decision that you just made to dance with Mrs. Chen.
Yeah. The other storylines from this that we're talking about disjointed, you got General Strickland who's trying to hunt down Eddie because Eddie is wanted for the murder of Patrick Mulligan, which is weird because...
Makes sense.
No, General Strickland knows that Patrick Mulligan is being contained to Area 51. So why the hell is he hunting down Eddie Brock when he knows Eddie Brock did not kill Patrick Mulligan?
So, A, attempted murder, B, has a symbiote.
Sure, but...
involved in the whole thing.
I guess. I understand that the whole thing is just a front for the general public, but...
Paperwork says that he killed Mulligan, so that's all people need to know. That's why he's hunting him. But
yeah, it was just a little weird.
Also, just symbiote out there running around. We can't have that.
You got Dr. Payne, which is Juno Temple's character. This whole backstory, like with her brother getting struck by lightning.
That was so out of place. Talking about things that are out of place, that was out of place.
I get that for like some kind of like motivation, but what did it motivated her to accept having a symbiote?
I did not no, not even that. I didn't need to know her backstory to understand her character and her place in this story.
Yeah, I don't think so.
She was a scientist, a doctor at this facility. That was it.
And then I know we said before that there was a character that was missing an arm. It was supposed to be, as far as we knew, it was supposed to be Dr. Payne. From what I was able to tell, she has both of her arms. It just seems like, I guess, one of them is paralyzed.
Yeah.
Again, didn't even notice it. Didn't recognize the fact that both of her arms weren't working or whatever.
Yeah.
So, good job, like, really highlighting and hammering that point home. I don't know, I guess, why it really mattered.
I mean, brother got struck with lightning. It shot through her arm or whatever.
I get it to the point that when she got the agony symbiote, she was primarily purple, but there were like streaks of like, kind of like the Venom figure here. You still had like the streaks of like blue lightning.
It was like lightning. It was electricity being shot back into her arm so she could use her arm again.
Which is cool, but I don't need a whole backstory really for that. That is a needless plot point.
No, yeah. It needed to be more of like I would say more of like a Dr. Kirk Connors type situation, and maybe they didn't want to imitate that or mimic that.
Especially because he was in the movie.
Yes, we'll get there. But like, I don't have use of my arm, and then all of a sudden, I connected with this symbiote. The electricity shoots through my arm. I have arm, and let that be the reason why she's investigating the symbiotes and everything. The whole backstory with the brother and everything just felt so out of place. We were like randomly going to the past. This kid gets struck by lightning, apparently dies or whatever, and now she's living his dream.
You are so nonchalant about that. Kid dies, whatever.
Yeah, but the movie was nonchalant about it. What do you want me to do?
Are we doing a spoiler for Venom or Terrifier? I kill them kids. Who cares?
I can't relate to that comment.
And then, of course, like I just said, we had the Kurt Connors, the actor who played Kurt Connors, not the actual Kurt Connors, but Rhys Ifans and his family.
This movie featured both Kurt Connors, alternate universe Kurt Connors, and alternate universe Mordo. We were talking about, like, is it possible that this movie exists within the same universe as Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man? No! You can't, because Kurt Connors has a twin out there, and he's in a hippie van.
So here's the thing. Out of everything that we were saying, this is bad, this is stupid, this doesn't make sense.
The family was fun.
The family was fun. Rhys Ifans, by the way, that is like probably the most phenomenal like American accent I've ever heard him do.
Yeah.
He has a very deep, like thick Welsh accent.
Yeah.
And for him to sound like like a hippie like that was great. I loved his character. His wife, Alana Ubach, I love seeing her in things. She's one of those that, like, I recognize her from somewhere, and I'm not sure where. I grew up, if you're like me, if you're of the age that I am, you probably grew up, thanks, needed you to back that one up. You probably grew up watching a show like Beakman's World, where it was like one of those fun science shows, Mr. Wizard, Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Old.
Yeah, thank you. She started off as his assistant, so that's where I started, like, recognizing her, and then she was like in Waiting, Legally Blonde.
I was
Meet
like,
the Fockers.
I was like, I recognize her somewhere. I watched Euphoria. Yes, I watched Euphoria. She is. I think you. Someone can correct me on this. I think she's Sydney Sweeney's mom in Euphoria. It's been a while. It's been a minute since I watched an episode of that. So
I see the resemblance.
Sure.
Anyway, so. I like seeing her. And then the kids were fun. Like, the daughter was, like, nonchalant about everything, but she was, like, ultimately accepting.
The family in general just provided a lot of heart to the movie, but other than that and them just needing to be in peril.
Yeah.
Really weren't needed at all, just kind of filling in some space of an already short movie.
I also really liked the bond between Eddie and Venom and the kid, the son. Like, are aliens real? No, they're not real. And then the whole, like,
you did the right thing.
Thanks for the chocolate, or you'd make a good dad. Like, that was so, like, aw.
Oh, Venom, thank you, buddy.
Like, that was cute and sweet. I like that. That was sappy.
Why are we saying, aw, Venom? Good job, buddy.
Venom's not a character that you typically would be like, "Aw."
Oh, these movies have made him so likable, I guess.
Yeah, or turning Venom into Paddington Bear is basically it.
Yeah.
And then the ending of this. Oh, let's
There's
jump
two
into
scenes.
those credits. So the first post-credit scene is what you were bringing up with Noel finally looking up. He's CGI. I don't know why he's CGI. I know a lot of people were saying that it was rumored that Norman Reedus is going to be playing Noel.
Could have.
Why couldn't you get Norman Reedus? Oh, because Noel's in this movie for maybe 2 minutes total. So why would you pay a bigger named actor like Norman Reedus to play?
Andy Serkis.
I mean, yeah, I guess the same with Andy Serkis, but I mean, Andy Serkis was just there in voice only.
Maybe some.
I don't know.
Maybe some CGI capture because that's what he does.
Well, especially because this movie,
Motion capture.
by that post credits, is making it look like Noel is going to be this big mega villain that we're going to see again later on down the line. Where?
When and how?
Yeah. The Venom movies, for all intents and purposes, are done now.
Yeah.
Why are we introducing supposedly what Sony is reportedly saying he's the Thanos of the Sony Spider-Man universe? What? No. That doesn't make any sense. So that was a useless mid-credit scene. And then we get the one after the credits where we get, was it Cristo Fernandez?
Cristo Fernandez.
The bartender.
So he was captured at the beginning of the movie because he interacted with Eddie when Eddie was on the run. Interacted with him. Strickland captured him at the beginning. Apparently kept him in Area 51. We completely forgot about that for the rest of the movie until that post-credit scene where he emerges from the destroyed Area 51 base.
My first thought was is he in the void with Deadpool and Wolverine?
No, he was just at Area 51, and the whole scene is literally him just wandering around going, I don't know where I'm at. And I don't know if it's supposed to be played for humor because it's Christopher Fernandez and we love him in Ted Lasso, or are we supposed to feel bad for this guy because what's his next move? He's in the middle of nowhere.
Well, so what I expect, typically what you see when you go to watch movies and they do these post-credit scenes, you usually get a funny thing, a funny stinger, or you get one that furthers a plot that sets up another movie.
Got both there, I guess.
Well, no. Well, yeah, I guess Noel is, supposed to be setting. I don't know what he's setting up.
It's furthering a plot, I guess, yeah.
I wanted something that actually could show where is the line of thinking as to could this continue to connect back to the MCU? That's what they've been doing so far. We had not. Venom appear in was it No Way Home or whatever?
Briefly, yeah.
And then we've had that stupid one in Morbius where he met up with Michael Keaton's character and just we're trying to make this link to the MCU, but we're failing. And then in this movie, we didn't even give a damn. We didn't try at all.
It's like what I said in the review. I think Sony's just sitting there going, "Please, can we be a part of this?" And Marvel's like, "Not yet. Nope. Hold on. We'll get your time. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Then with no intention at all of bringing them on fully, ever.
So that's what I wanted to see, and apparently that final shot ends with a bug finding a little piece of the Venom symbiote,
little Venom cockroach,
the one that I guess General Strickland sucked up into that test tube.
Okay, so Venom's not actually dead then, huh? We're gonna get more Venom, I guess, maybe.
Sure, whatever. I mean,
always got to leave it open. You never know. This movie could do really well at the box office, and then they could be like, well, you know what? Forget The Last Dance. We're gonna make the next to Last Dance or whatever.
It really is hard to believe that this movie, Madam Web, Morbius, and the future Kraven are all coming from the same exact studio that did the Spider-Verse movies, because those are phenomenal.
Yeah, it's complete polar opposite.
How are they messing up this
so
bad?
Polar opposite. For me, the thing is that, and I know we're at this point we're really harping on this movie a lot here. For me, I don't see how the Sony Spider-Man universe survives this year. Madam Web tanked bad. Venom, this movie,
it's tanking.
I think is going to tank real bad. We're doing this, I guess, opening night right now. We're recording on opening night or whatever for Venom.
Yeah. I will harp back to what everyone else is saying. It is a fun movie.
It's entertaining.
Shut off your brain. Be entertained. Cool.
I guess. I also want some more substance to this kind of a movie as well.
That was a really good movie, though.
So, yeah, whatever my train of thought was, it just went out the window.
The substance. I mean, it's not a great movie, I guess. I mean, the other two Venom movies, like I said before, they're okay. They're probably definitely the better of all the Sony Spider-Man movies, but again, that's not saying much.
Yeah.
So.
We're just, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was talking about the box office. I know we're harping on it, but like, yeah, Bad and Web tanked. This movie's going to tank. Craven, listen, I'm predicting Craven's going to tank.
It looks interesting. There's a story in there.
Yeah. The character itself, like most of these movies, does not deserve to have his own movie, and I don't think the character by himself is going to draw people in. Craven draws people in if Spider-Man's in the movie.
If he's hunting Spider-Man.
Yeah, that would be about it.
Which is what we thought No Way Home was going to be.
So, my prediction, come back to this video later, my prediction, Craven's going to tank, and I don't think the Sony Spider-Man universe survives this year.
I think after Craven, if Craven bombs at the box office,
Morbius,
that is
Madam
the
Web.
end. That is the final end of the Sony Spider-Man movies.
The third Venom movie, Craven, like, how many more hits can they take before they go, you know what, this just isn't working anymore?
Yep. Anyways, that is our spoiler talk. Was there anything else that you wanted to expand upon? Let us know down below in the comments. Again, while you're down there, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Do the YouTube things. You can follow us. We are at The Cinefanatics on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can follow me personally at RCA Reacts on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Letterboxd. You can also follow me at youtube.com/@RCA Reacts.
You can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd.
Anyways, that's going to do it for this spoiler talk. Thank you for watching this and all of our other videos. We very much appreciate each and every one of your views. We will see you on whatever the next one is. Later.
Bye.